Good morning, welcome back to the Beautiful Things channel. I thought I would pop on today and share with you my very small but very nice haul from the Knitting and Stitching show. Having just got back from a weekend in Utrecht where I bought an entire suitcase and a half full of fabric, I was on a very strict garment sewing fabric ban. Also, having recently assessed my knitting and crochet stash, I was on a strict yarn buying ban, with the exception of a small easy project that would help me get my mojo back, because I haven't been knitting or crocheting at all throughout the summer. I've been trying to get some whips finished and I've just not been feeling inspired or motivated, so I thought I need something quick and simple that I can get done so that it will hopefully bring back the mojo enough for me to attack the stash. So I wasn't really allowed to buy much, if I'm honest. I was going more for inspiration, hopefully coming up with some new ideas for classes here in the studio, and also potentially treating myself to a couple of nice little bits to again help me feel a bit more motivated and inspired. So let me show you what I bought. So we'll start with that yarny purchase. I went for some good old-fashioned Stylecraft Cabaret. I love this yarn. There is two new colourways out which I haven't seen before. This gorgeous rainbowy one, which looks lovely, and this lovely tealy blue one. Now, I went to the show with little Miss Mac. She loves blue. I wanted the rainbow one, so I had to buy two lots. But that does mean I'm going to do the same project twice. I am going to make a good old road trip shawl with these. I will get one just to show you what I'm talking about. This is the road trip. It is super quick, super simple. It's a free pattern, available on Ravelry and I think just on the interwebs in general by Zooty Owl. And I'm really hoping it takes two balls of this. I have an awful feeling now that I've bought two balls that it might take three, but we'll see. The good thing about Stylecraft and the fact that these are variegated yarns is that dye lots don't massively matter. So if I do find that I don't have enough, as long as I get started quickly, I can hopefully buy another one. So this is a lovely shawl. It's really quick and easy to crochet. It's the shawl that we do in our crocheted shawl class here at the studio. And I'm sure there will be people wanting to come and do this with me again in the run up to Christmas. So I thought it would be a good chance to actually get cracking on my own. And then if anyone wants to join in, then they can do. In fact, I might even do it as a crochet along in my free group. We shall see. Watch this space. The next thing I bought, there's a funny story behind. It's just a big tin of 505 temporary adhesive spray. I use this in the studio in a lot of my projects. It's really handy. I had a small can which has lasted quite a while, but I saw these big cans on sale. They had them on most of the stalls, if I'm honest. But there's one particular stall, I can't remember what it's called, but it's always there and it always sells, you know, your equipment, and it's massive. But they had a really big sale on this time. They were selling off lots of their old stock and there was a huge pile of these all piled up, and there was a $1.99 sign on top of them. And me being me was like, there is absolutely no way that any company in their right mind would sell a large can of 505 spray for $1.99. It just wouldn't happen. Even if they'd fallen off the back of a lorry, they still would be really stupid to be selling it at $1.99 because it's worth so much more. So I actually plucked up the guts to say, excuse me, I'm assuming this sign is in the wrong place. And the man went, oh, yes, thank you so much, and took it away. So I then said, well, I'm going to buy a can. I said, for my honesty, do you think perhaps, you know, you should, I don't know, give me a can at half price or honour the $1.99? And I laughed because I wasn't being serious. I was honestly just having a bit of a giggle with him. But sure enough, he took £1 off my can of 505 spray. So what should have been $9.99 cost me $8.99. And as I always say to Izzy, if you don't ask, you don't get. So, funny story. The next thing I bought was a little kit. Now, I love these little kits because they are just quick and simple, easy to do, and then if I want to then go on and do classes of a similar nature, then I can do. And this is one of the pin flare projects for a little fabric covered tissue box. You can see there it's in its plastic, so it's a bit shiny, but this is a hinged lid that flips up so you can drop a box of tissues inside, pop the hinge lid back down, and you've just got a nicer cover for your tissue box. This wasn't particularly expensive, it was $4.95. It's got everything you need in it with the exception of the fabric. Obviously you choose your own fabric. And I did also buy some of their bookbinding glue that they recommend. Obviously this is probably more expensive. You can probably get it cheaper on Amazon and the likes, I'm sure you can. But while I was there, I wanted to make sure that I was going to do it to the best of my ability, so I bought the bits and pieces that I needed. And I even got a free glue spreader. The next thing I bought was a little small piece of cork. Now there was lots of people selling these rolled up pieces of cork. They were about £7.99, £8 I think, for fairly large pieces, but I just wanted to have a go with it. I'm not sure if it's something I'm going to want to sew with, so I just bought a very small little remnant instead, and I thought I could have a go sewing like a little card pouch or a luggage tag or something small, just to see how I got on with it. Ooh, big honking noises outside, sorry. It's really interesting fabric actually. I've not ever felt it before. So it's like a woven fabric on the back, but then cork. Sorry, that's the sandwich van. It's cork on the front, and you can see this one I've gone for has got some silver running through it. It's really pretty. So I think that will make a nice little luggage tag. I'm going to see if I can, well, I think I can probably work it out for myself, to be honest. It'll probably make a couple of luggage tags. I think I'm going to try and do it so that it's got a vinyl piece inside, a clear vinyl piece, so you can slide your card inside and then stitch around. And then I'll probably make like a little tab and possibly attach that with a rivet so that it's really nice and secure, but I'm not sure. I'm going to have a little play. It's always nice to have pieces of fabric in your stash that you can play with, and again are going to hopefully inspire future makes and future classes. Then I went to my good friends at Guthrie & Garney and I purchased a ginger jeans pattern pack. This isn't for me, this is for Elspeth. She's taking our ginger jeans class with Charlotte Newland later in the year, or next year actually, and she wanted to get all the bits and pieces, and I said to her, I'm pretty sure that whenever they do shows, Guthrie & Garney do ginger jeans sets and packs, would you like me to get you one? And she said yes please. They have the pattern in them, the jeans buttons, the rivets, 2 lots of top stitching thread, denim needles, top stitching needles, and the zip. She will probably need to buy, no she won't, I'm thinking an extra zip, but she won't do, no. So it's £35.50, so that's everything that she needs in there to make the ginger jeans. Next up, I stopped at Sew Over It stand. I was wearing my Eve dress yesterday, so I thought it would be a good thing to have a picture taken in my Eve dress on the Sew Over It stand. And I was talking to the lovely girls there, and I saw the samples on the rail. Now, with the Eve dress, and actually with the vintage stretch dress that they do as well, wrap dress, if I hadn't seen the actual dresses in the flesh, then I probably wouldn't have made them, because I'm never particularly inspired by drawings on patterns. So I don't normally buy a pattern if it's got a drawing on it. The only reason I made the Eve dress was because I've been lucky enough to see Sian's in the flesh, and I tried it on and I loved it. It fitted really nicely, so I made it. And there was some samples on a rail, and I had a good look, including the new bomber jacket that she's released, and the boho dress. So it's the Heidi boho dress and the Amelie bomber jacket. Now they're both patterns that come free with Lisa's online magazine and with her actual printed magazine, which I don't actually subscribe to. It's £15 per quarter, I think, but it's not something that I've ever subscribed to. However, they were selling the magazines with the patterns for £5, all of the back issues at the show, so I thought that was really good. And the magazines are actually at home. I didn't bring them into the studio today because I actually want to read them, but I bought 2 of the magazines. I bought the one that comes with the Amelie bomber jacket, which is here. And looking at this picture, I would think, look, I don't want to wear that. I think it's because of the fabric. It reminds me of like a vintage sofa, if I'm entirely honest. But the jacket itself, having seen it in the flesh, is a really nice jacket. I think I would lengthen it ever so slightly because it is very cropped and I don't have a tiny waist. But it is a really nice jacket, having seen it in the flesh, and I thought, yeah, do you know what, I like that, I think I would make it. So I picked that up. And I also picked up the other one that has the Heidi dress in it. Now, you're not going to be able to see this particularly well, but it is a kind of a faux wrap. It does wrap over, but not all the way round. Dress, you can also make a top from it as well, a blouse. What I was concerned about was whether the girls would just fall out, whether it was too loose and drapey around the top. But having seen the sample, there's a little internal tie that you can take as you wrap your first piece across your front, you tie it to the inside so that it's secured before you bring the second piece over the top. So it's kind of a wrap, but it's secure in two places, which means that the girls aren't going to fall out. So again, if I hadn't seen the actual sample in the flesh and I saw the long dress and I saw the top and I thought, no, that's really nice, I could make that. It's similar to the Eve dress. And having chatted to the girls on the stand and said, you know, I like the Eve because it hugs everything, keeps everything in place. Is the Heidi dress the same? And they were like, yep, you'll find you'll get the same similar fit. So I was like, brilliant, let's go. So I got 2 patterns, 2 magazines for bedtime reading for £10. So I was pleased with that. I will let you know what I think of the magazines when I've read them. Whilst we're on to patterns, we stopped at Tilly and the Buttons, and again, the Indigo, Tilly's new pattern, is another one that, looking at pictures, I'm like, I don't know, I think it might look a bit like a tent on me. I don't think it's going to be particularly flattering, but I think it might have been Love Sewing magazine. It was one of the publishing companies anyway, were doing a competition, obviously, where you put your name in the box and they then send you loads of stuff. And you can potentially win a subscription to their magazine. I'm not sure which one it was, but they had samples up around their stand of dresses and tops, and they had an Indigo top and it was lovely. Granted, it was leopard print, hence why it appealed to me, but it was really nice. It was really pretty. It was nice and fitted. It wasn't too baggy, and I looked at it and I thought, no, I like that, I could wear that, I'm going to buy the pattern. So again, I need to see things in the flesh before I make a decision on them, and that's one of the main reasons I like going to the yarn shows as well, because you can see the shawls, you can try the shawls on, you can see if they're going to suit you before you then spend time and money on materials, and obviously your own time. So the Indigo is now on my list, and I think I'm just going to make this with some of the fabric that's in my stash. Now we then stopped at what was it? The London Trimmings stand. Now I didn't realise this was the London Trimmings stand. We stopped because the lovely Charlotte Newland was there. She was demonstrating, and all of the products behind her were Prim products, so I assumed that she was working on behalf of Prim for the day. But she wasn't. She was working for London Trimmings. They're a wholesale company, which is great, so I'm going to be taking a little trip there to go and see what they might be able to help us out with here for the studio. But they stock predominantly Prim products, so they were selling those, and they'd asked Charlotte to come along and work for them to give her demonstrating skills, or to share her demonstrating skills to the rest of the world. So it was lovely to see her. We had a lovely cuddle and a nice chat, talked about large bottoms and things, as you do, and because we were obviously chatting to her for quite some time, the chap from London Trimmings came over and he could see I had Izzy with me, he could see she was interested in what we were doing, and he gave her a whole heap of stuff, which was so sweet. She was so chuffed. So thank you, London Trimmings. I'll show you what she got. She's very cross that I brought them into work because she wants them at home, but I will take them back. She got a Prim handmade, or 2 little handmade labels that you can stitch onto whatever it is you make, so like little tags, so she can put those on her bags or anything that she makes. She got some colouring fabric, which is great fun. I love this, Cat in the Hat, and there's all sorts of really fun little creatures on here. This was perfect timing actually, because I've just bought myself a brand new set of tulip fabric markers, which will be arriving in the next couple of days. So she's looking forward to colouring this in, and then I've said I'll help her turn it into a little bag. and she can stitch one of her little handmade labels onto it. And then she got 2 Diamante iron-on transfers, I guess they are. One of them is a flamingo and the other one is an owl. So she's got a black hoodie with Little Miss Mac on the back of it, so she's going to put her flamingo on one of those, and then she's also got a plain black t-shirt that she's going to iron her owl onto, so I shall help her with that. So she was really chuffed, so thank you very much to the guys at London Trimmings. I'll put the links down below for all of the shops and all of the stands that I shopped at, and I'll also put links to anything that we've purchased so that you can go and get it yourself if you want to. Now, I've got 2 more things to show you. The next one was from a stand called Purple Stitches. It was a really lovely stand. I got first drawn in by the fact that they had a beautiful bag on their counter in this lovely fabric. I'll show you. It's lovely. It's very bright. It's by Beth and Janine and it's called Summer Dance. And the bag in question was the Retreat bag by Emmeline Bags. I'll try and put a picture of it up here, just grabbed from the Tinterwebs. And it's a really nice bag. It uses these internal wire frames. These are an Emmeline product. Obviously we love Emmeline bag stuff here. Shana's got us massively into it for the necessary clutch wallets, so we know it's really good quality. So we didn't hesitate to buy these, and they come with the details on the back for a free download for the Retreat bag pattern. Comes in 2 sizes, large and small. I bought the large wires. I'm kind of wishing I'd bought the small wires as well, and then I could have made 2 bags, but anyway, I bought the large wires, and I bought the most beautiful continuous zipper to go in the top of it. This is by a company, sorry, I've not heard of before, called Sally Tomato. But I might have to look them up. I'm not going to show you, it's absolutely adamant it's not going to show you, I'm trying to focus. But these are rose gold teeth. They look metal, but they're not, they're nylon. And then you have got rose gold pulls for them. But they're nylon teeth zippered that look like metal. So really chuffed to have this. This is 3 yards of zipper tape, and then there are, well, there's numerous zip pulls on there. And I don't know whether they're going to fit onto normal nylon zip, but we'll see, because I don't know that 3 yards is necessarily going to be enough to use all of those pulleys, but I'm very excited to try them. So I've already downloaded the pattern and printed it off, and I'm going to get having a look through my stash to see what lining fabrics I've got for the bag. I'm going to get that made, and I think that will probably be another class that we'll run here in the studio quite soon, if I get on with it. Now, the last thing that I want to show you is actually a purchase that I made before the Knitting and Stitch show, but I picked it up at the Knitting and Stitch show. Those of you who follow Tilly and the Buttons on Instagram may have seen an Instagram stories that she posted on the first day, or possibly the second day of the show, and she was showing you around all the various different stalls that were there, and one of the ones that she shared with you was Olive Road London. And Olive Road London is a stall or a company that sells vintage fabrics. It's run by the lovely Sarah Richards. It's based in London, and it's named, it's so sweet, the shop is named, or the company is named, after the street that her grandparents lived on. So Olive Road, and she sells all sorts of vintage fabrics, mainly bark cloths, and I saw 2 hanging up at the back of her stand that I thought were just perfect. And this is so on brand. I mean, just look at this in here. Look at the colours, it's just perfect. The only thing that would make this 100% perfect is if the background was brown and not purple. But check that out. It's a beautiful piece of vintage bark cloth. Now, I have a project for our So Beautiful Things sewing club coming up soon, which is a big vintage, or it's not vintage, but a big storage box. And this kind of fabric is absolutely perfect for it. I saw it hanging up. I sent her a message and I said, I need that fabric. Please don't sell it. How big is it? How much is it? Let me send you some money. And the lovely Sarah sent me a message back via Instagram and told me all about it and sent me a PayPal invoice. I paid for it, and sure enough, I was going to pick it up for her from her on Sunday. Anyway, when I got to her stand, she said, oh Claire, I'm so sorry, I've made a terrible mistake. When I measured the fabric, I thought it was this size, but actually it's not. It's considerably smaller. I've got a smaller chunk of it that I turned into a kit to make a tote bag. and I haven't got the big piece. Let me refund you the extra money, but please have this kit by way of me saying sorry to you for mucking up your order. Sarah, you didn't muck up my order. Bless you. I just like the fabric. You could have told me you had a tiny piece and it was 10 quid and I'd have still bought it. Never mind that you had a massive piece and it was 30. It really doesn't matter. It's perfect. I loved it. I had absolutely no purpose for it, and now I do. So thank you for that. I'm delighted. Now I'm sure she won't mind me sharing this with you, but she has got a code for 15% off on her online shop, and it is Stitch 19. And that's valid until the 31st of December 2019. We had a long chat, because she's a small independent retailer, we had a long chat about doing these kind of shows and why myself as a business I choose not to do them, as in not to sell at them, because they to me are just too expensive. I can't afford it. I haven't got the cash flow, and I would have to sell so much stock to even break even, and it's just really hard. But that also, it's not necessarily all about the money that you make at these shows. It's about the connections that you make, the new customers that you introduce to your business. And she's incredibly grateful to the lovely Tilly for doing that Instagram stories. I think she said she had something like an extra 68 followers within an hour or so of her putting that video up. So it's great if us as small independent businesses can support each other, and it's something as simple as a little Instagram stories, or just me telling you about Olive Road here on this video, and you going and checking her out, is hugely supportive. So please do go and visit Olive Road London. I will put the link down below, I promise. I'll also put the code down there, so if you do fancy treating yourself to any vintage fabric, then I'm sure Sarah will be able to help you out. But it's really nice for me to be able to support another fellow independent business. So that's all I bought. I think you'll agree that I was fairly well restrained. I'm just totting up. So we've got about 10, 20, about £100, including that vintage piece of fabric. So about £100. I don't think that's too bad, because considering I will potentially get, no, maybe £110, sorry, I forgot the magazines, oh, and the pattern, 120. But I will potentially get 2 or 3 classes out of that. So those class fees will pay back for this stash enhancement. So I'll look at it as an investment. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing what I bought at the Knitting and Stitch show. Please do go and check out all the links below. Go and support those other traders, and I will see you again really soon. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.